Oh, guess what? My microphone's been off the whole time. Sorry, guys. Wasting my breath. Anyways, what I was going to comment on just now is that one of the features that's coming up with our next update is that I'm trying to draw attention to in this key art is that casters can now wield spell tomes in their left hand. And this allows them to essentially have two spells equipped at the same time, one in their memorization slot and one in their hand. But the other thing this allows casters to do is if they can't learn the spell because they're too dumb or their magic skill isn't high enough, they can cast the spell anyway, assuming they have the amount of mana required. And if they don't have the casting skill, they may still fizzle the spell and waste the mana, but it can at least help, especially if you're a starting out wizard or like a barbarian or something that doesn't have any natural casting skill. It'll help you maybe get started, whereas otherwise you might not be able to do anything with magic. So I just got a message from my wife. It's our anniversary today. Yeah. So, again, apologies for the dead air in the first couple minutes of the stream here. I was thinking about going ahead and starting a straight-up color pass before doing anything else. And but then I remembered from last night, I had called out that I hadn't really done my diligence of doing an ink pass on the background before I started shading, and that was kind of risky and stupid of me. So I figured now would be a good time for me to tackle that and put off coloring just a little bit, which means maybe I will, maybe I won't get to finish this piece today, but I will make a lot of progress. Because essentially the entire composition's done now, I just need to render. And let's just give a little hint of his cape. His cape can be on one side. I don't think we need to complicate that anymore. And then we're gonna have his like warrior buddy backing him up. Nobody here is wearing a helmet, so I guess I can draw a helmet on this guy and it'll look unique. Give him a shield. Why not? Well, that whole hand is just a little bit too far south, ain't it? Let's just move it up a tad. Thank you, magic of computers. Not really happy with that foot. That's better. All right. Well, at the very least, this section is a massive improvement over what it was. Make sure to clean up all that ink. Will it fill? It did fill. Thank you, Fill Tool. I think I don't want to go in and recreate all the cracks in those rocks. I think I did a good enough job on those. It's mostly just things like the characters and props that I want to clean up. Because I think I did a pretty good job on the other stuff. So maybe I can do some selective selections to salvage the things that I'm happy with. This slime, I think, is a good example of one that's like holding up just fine. Doesn't need a bunch of redo. Pull the slime out. I think the gnome needs some work, even though the slime doesn't. Yeah, I'm not happy enough with much else to leave it. Let's drag this bit of environment in. Start that over. Messy selection. Alright. Get back in it. Because this imp is in the foreground, maybe I'll start with the fountain. It's pretty sloppy. A little wobbly, but good enough for me. The song sounds familiar. 6 Degrees of Light. Maybe it was like a Fruity Loop sample or something I listened to. It sounds very familiar. I like it though. Brain hears something familiar. Brain like thing it already understand. I'm just realizing I said that I liked it right after I said I'm familiar with it, and it's like, yeah. Predictable. I'd like to be less predictable than that, but I'm only human. Lyrics, huh? Well, since I don't have a lot of talking to do, I guess I'll let it slide this time. Really? A Mass Effect fan song? Okay. Whatever. I like Mass Effect, but not this much. Not enough to fanboy out with a fan-made song. That's silly. Gosh darn it. The song has kind of a Billy Idol style to it, and I do like Billy Idol. Alright, Fountain got done-diterated. So, the Gnome is a little bit of a controversial addition in my opinion. I really don't think that his proportions are perfect considering the perspective of the image. But compositionally, I think this is the right place for him. The only thing I can justify this camera angle with is that like he's up on top of something, which is, well, frankly impossible in Barony, but I think I might just let it slide. Wouldn't be the first time I committed such a grave sin. Okay, so we're just gonna roll with it. It's not like anybody's ever commented before on my bad perspective. I say that somewhat ironically. No fan has cared, that's for sure. Clearly a much better job on the gnome face this time, if I do say so myself. I'm like really ducking into my screen. This darn pickaxe again give me doubts. Alright, we got a much cleaner gnome over here. kind of want to make it look like his shirt is tucked in incorrectly. And gnomes aren't exactly the snappiest dressers. That's a fair assumption. Why not give him a little stitching on his pants? Alright. Drink water. Getting a little warm in here. Unfortunately, the AC in my office isn't exactly stellar, and but I need to leave the door closed or else my toddler will wander in and disrupt the stream all day. And so really don't have much choice but to sit in here and sweat it out when I'm streaming with you guys. All none of you. I was a little afraid that this imp would turn out looking too cherubic. You know, I wanted it to look small and almost childlike, like you often see imps in mythology. But also menacing, you know. Oh my gosh. What is this? Yeah, sorry. Not listening to this. I can only stand so much fan music. It's like fanfic, but for music. Okay. So the pose that this imp is in is supposed to look like he's flying and twisting his shoulders to hold a fireball before he blasts, you know, our heroes. And so I'm trying to make sure that pose actually works. That said, there is like fire spilling out all over the place. We heard this song yesterday. Why don't we change the channel? We'll try this for a bit and see how it goes. I might have to get rid of some of the ink around this, but I think the shape of this like magic wad should hold up okay. Change the shape of the wing a little bit so that it looks like it's actually folding over on the top. Like that. Looks a little cooler. Let's roll with it. So, just a anatomy test here. Looking at the imp, if we followed through, that's what his underbelly would look like. So why don't we ease up on this a little bit so we can justify his anatomy a little better. Honestly, this guy reminds me of the elf kid from Labyrinth. Which I don't know if that's a flattering statement about that actor, but it's certainly funny to me. Alright, we got some clearer anatomy for our friend the imp. I don't know about you guys, but he's my close personal friend. Alright. I need to fix this pillar. I'm gonna do the imp first, since he's in the foreground. Alright, I think I'm gonna steal this wall for my first layer because I think it's good enough. I don't want to draw these bricks again anyway. Waste not, want not. Oh, I've got a little bit of work to do left on this imp. I missed his tail. Maybe we give this a little bit of a barb to it. Okay, we got the fountain. We got the slime. We just need these mines and the bear trap, and inking's done, guys. Think anybody will notice if I copy this mine? Nobody will notice. Thank you. What's up, man? How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. It's this sneaky mine in the middle here that throws it off because, you know, the pattern shows that they're each different and unique, right? I don't know about this song, guys. Alright, we got the mines. I'm like having doubts about this bear trap, you know? It seems like a little just thrown on there. I'm tempted to paint this thing without it. Alright. So we got all these characters. Oh, how did I miss the fountain there? I need to finish out that fountain. And slime is in there. Excuse me. That was a really cool sneeze. All right. Now I feel like the inking is done. I definitely think I'm gonna not put that bear trap there. I think it's distracting, frankly. So now let's look at how my shadows from yesterday hold up to the new inking. Mostly just fine. Maybe need a little cleanup here and there. Shadows. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of deliberately not that accurate with these shadows because I intend to blur them anyway. But where it's like blatantly wrong, I'd like to correct it. Let's turn off the pencil layer. We've got enough going on. I think I need to redo the imps shading a little bit. Okay, I can't do it with this channel. Let's try out Epic. A channel called Epic. I guess that might be more appropriate for like a fantasy drawing anyway. Okay, I can do with this. It's fine. Oh yeah, and I gotta shade these guys up here that I've been avoiding since I hadn't finished them yesterday. Let's get it. Yes, this is a good channel. This will do. I tend to find like fantasy style music a little bit boring, but this is pretty upbeat. You know, like a bunch of slow string instruments and horns, like you find in fantasy game soundtracks a lot. I find to be a little bit tedious, but this is it's upbeat. A little bit adventurous. That's what I like in my fantasy, is some adventure. I might want to just like shade this whole back area here so that it falls a little bit more into the background, you know? Alright, I just discovered one more little flaw here. I didn't ink the edge of that tile there. I would like to. Let's go ahead and just fill this in. It's going to be fine. Now playing in Mired Herpetology. That's funny. It's a funny name. Basically just like a swamp full of lizards is what that means. Cold-blooded creatures. Cool. Not sure if I would ever name a song that, but I'm not here to judge. Alright, looking at this. What do we gotta fix yet? Of course, the shadows are wrong on these, because they're from yesterday's work. But how wrong are they really? Can I just touch them up a little bit? I gave a shadow to the automaton back here, which she richly deserves. She richly deserves. As I said yesterday, she is a female automaton. Alright. Are we finally done shading? Or doing the sort of binary shading pass? I think so. Let's go ahead and blur this out. Blur. And I want to blur it just enough so that it looks like it's not being lit by a spotlight. Something a little softer than that. Let's work with that for now. I wonder what happens if we change this to an overlay layer. Gets a little more color in the shadows. Versus a multiply, which has no additional color. Let's go with a multiply for now. If we wanna throw in some additional color later, we can do that. Ooh, Bleach Garage says yes. You prefer the overlay to add some color? Or are you just acknowledging what I said is true? I have an idea. I could do one overlay and one multiply. We'll call this layer pencil. That way I know not to turn it on ever again. Okay. And this is ink. Alright, enough messing around with that lighting layer. Let's get some color in this bad boy. I'm going to start with a flood fill of blue. Actually, that's stupid. Is it stupid? Let's do it anyway. We can do a flood fill of like a medium blue-gray. And the walls are made out of blue bricks. Don't ask me why. I don't know where they sell blue bricks in Fantasyland, but they do. Barony is clear and obvious evidence of that fact. I forget that the controls for multi-selecting in Affinity Photo are different than that of Photoshop, so sometimes I gotta do things twice. Oh, come on now. That's actually all the walls we have, and they're going to be a deeper blue color, like a legitimate blue color. It's a little weird, but it's fantasy, bro. We love that color here. That's probably more appropriate. So the columns in the game match the walls. So I could do that here. I might as well give that the benefit of the doubt. Hooray for making selections. Okay. That's what the columns look like. The same color as the walls. I don't hate the parity there, but I think that the lack of contrast with the wall that it's right next to there just is not appealing. So I'm gonna try making them like a light gray. Oh, come now. Was it not obvious that I was just wanting to adjust the columns? Okay, so we could oversaturate these a bit and make them stand out more, or undersaturate them to give them a little contrast, or we could brighten them. I think I like the contrast of the brighter column, frankly. Ooh. Yeah, I think this works. And one of the things I like about it is that it does read as blue. So, so it has some authenticity to the game. This shadow is a little much. This music is epic. The channel I'm listening to is called Epic. So it had better be epic. Otherwise, it's like, why even bother with this stupid channel anyway? Okay. I think this is making a pretty good backdrop so far. I think I will probably do like a focal point in the lighting so that the things in the center are much more well defined than the things on the outskirts here. Because right now, I can already tell I'm going to have a value issue with the things in the background not falling back enough, especially like everything past this bridge should really fall off into background. Everything past the automaton, really. And right now, because the values are too similar, that's not happening. But shouldn't be a tough fix. Let's continue with our color, shall we? Let's color the slime. What's up, slime? You about to get shot by a bug man? Don't answer that. That was a fun song. Thanks, Epic Music Channel. Where's my smudge tool? Here it is. I don't think smudge is the right tool for the job. It's taken away all of the crispiness I liked about this slime shading. I just wanted it to soften a little bit. Maybe I can just paint with a soft edge brush and make those lines a little less harsh. That's much better, actually. Maybe we paint a little bit on these bones. We can take away the softness of the brush for this. It's a little much. Just brighten the goo a little bit where there's things inside of it. That's enough. I'm gonna try doing a color layer on top of the shadows so I can throw like a specular reflection on top of this slime. Because right now it's getting dulled by the shadows. Which makes sense, but is also not ideal. Let's do a two-part. Not totally sure about this one. I think that's as fancy as I want to go with that slime right now. I feel like I could add a little bit more depth where it meets the floor, though. Let's you know what? Let's try to capitalize on that. The slime feels a little more grounded now. I'm happier with that. Alright, next up. Maybe the imp. And in-game we know that the imp is like a magenta color. Just like real demons. Not really digging how the shadow layer is playing with the imp right now. It's a little aggressive. I might just do a selection and chill it out on the imp alone because of how it's affecting this magenta. But I have a feeling this imp's going to get a lot of special attention because of how much lighting he's generating with this fireball. Anyway. one of the things I mentioned yesterday is this imp doesn't really belong in this picture. I just thought it'd be a cool enemy to feature since we haven't featured him before in any key art. Because these characters are in the ruins, and you run into demons in the ruins, but not imps. You only run into them in Hell and... where else? The Hercs fight. But one of the other reasons why I wanted to show him off is because man, I'm just sick of these lyrical songs. Sorry. I'm not giving you a chance today. Anyway, the Shamans, last form that they unlock that they can change into is the imp. And so it just felt appropriate to show off the imp for a quick second in this key art. Wife's pinging me about some stuff. Anyway, playing as an imp is pretty cool. You get to levitate, and you can use books and magic staffs. Whereas the other creatures you can turn into can't use any handheld items at all. And the imp also comes with some spells memorized, and if you're playing a goblin, you can't memorize spells because you're a big dum-dum, illiterate idiot. And you can use, spell books and staffs. You just can't memorize the spells as a goblin. And so changing into different forms gives you ability to access some memorized spells. They're just predetermined by the form that you are. So that's cool. Oh, that song ended abruptly. Yeah, I had a feeling that was happening. I decided to turn off the background layer because it was disguising a lot of holes in the coloring. Not acceptable. We're finally back to some epic music tracks instead of corny lyrical stuff. Sometimes a man's gotta sneeze. You know what I mean? Excuse me. All right, we got quite a bit of stuff colored. I'm gonna leave the painting up for you guys to look at while I take a quick bathroom break and catch up with my wife for a scotch. Let's get everybody in there, shall we? And I'll go ahead and leave the music on, because why not? BRB. I like to do this. Let's do this. All right, I am back, and while I was taking my break, I set up the stream out in the living room so my son could watch, because he's just like pounding on the door trying to get in. He's real curious. Thought it might make things a little easier. So with that, what's up? What's up, fam? Got myself a little snacky doodle as well. So I'm gonna finish at least doing basic colors for everything, and then I might call it, because it is my anniversary today, and I'm gonna spend some time with my wife. But for now, let's just get painting. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and outline all this magic stuff and do a fill because I can. Alright. Look at that. Like a charm. Now I could go a little nutso, whoopsie daisy, by adding some you know, some of that same color to the imp here. I think I'll do that on a separate layer if I choose to do that though. So apparently my son out there is watching, and he's listening to me say this right now, this very moment. And he can't understand that I can't hear him through the TV. So I'm going to talk directly to you for a second, little boy. Hey, bud. I know you want to talk to me, but I can't hear you through the TV. This is like watching a movie or like Storybots where you can hear them, but they can't hear you. Okay, dude? So I'm sorry that I can't hear you, but I love you. And I'll see you in a bit. This is reminding me of Big Trouble in Little China. That guitar especially. Alright, I'm gonna say that 2 of these mines are fire, and the last one is cold. because the tinkering skill gives you access to several different types of mines you can make. This goofy gnome wears a blue shirt and different color blue pants with his red garden gnome cap in the game. And a brown belt. I don't recall if they have gloves in the game, but I gave him gloves. Is that the right color of blue for his pants? I'm gonna go do a quick double check from the source material. Oh, no, they're a little more purpley actually. Yeah, that's correct. The purple pants, no. Is that enough? Booyah! Alright. I like it when it takes no work. It's my favorite part. I feel like I've drawn a picture with a pickaxe before, and I tried to put the pickaxe into perspective, and it was a huge hassle for me at that time as well. Although I can't remember when that happened. I just remember distinctly thinking, like, there's no way this perspective is correct. And I hope nobody notices. Oops. I want to erase the hat. It cracks me up that we have like some small segment of our player base that is like desperate to be able to play a gnome. And it's not something we support. Mostly because the art for all the armor would have to be adjusted to account for his small size, or he just wouldn't be able to wear armor. And we're not really happy with either of those solutions. Where is the fill not adequate? There we go. And I understand playing a gnome would be fun, but it, like, yeah, it's just a lot more work. People would be sad to hear that. Oh, that we don't intend to make gnomes playable? Well, I mean, it's just, I actually had a good talk with a fan about it. By the way, hello, Opulus. Good to see you. Yeah, I mean, we'd have to, all the arms equipment, all the torso equipment, all the leg equipment would all have to be adjusted to make it so a gnome could wear it. And so, as compared to all of our other humanoids that are all the same height, you know, just under 2 meters or whatever, like all the equipment fits all of them without any adjustment. And so it just makes a lot more sense to make those playable. I think that secretly Wall of Justice and I are open to the idea of one day making the short races playable, but it would have to be part of an update that addresses that issue like in a holistic manner with a design solution we're comfortable with. I have had one fan reach out and say, you know, they're willing to do the model work to make that happen. And I was like, I do appreciate that, but I mean, it's not just saying here's a list of models like for you to redo. I'd have to come up with the standards of what would actually work correctly, and give him like a sample of exemplars that would say that I'd say, okay, this would work if you follow these guidelines, and then set him loose on converting all the equipment models to be something that could be used on short races. And, you know, if somebody wanted to go do that all on their own with no guidance from me and make their own mod, they actually could do that. But if it's going to be something that's going to go officially into the game that me and the rest of the team would be officially working on, I wouldn't want to just hand it over to a modder and be like, okay, whatever you put together, we'll put in. Like, that's... we need to internally have like a level of quality that we can be accountable to. Yeah. I'm glad you understand. Look at that beard. What a cutie pie. He's gonna call in his homies and shoot you up with a lightning staff after this. But in the meantime, he's pretty cute, huh? By the way, have you guys talked about localization? Because I'm still not sure. I want to retranslate the game to German each time you make a big update. Oh, man. I really wish we had a better solution for localization. And I totally understand not wanting to retranslate it every time. Yeah, I mean, if we had a better plan. I mean, the way our lang file works, what would you say is the biggest difficulty in retranslating? Like, obviously, there's new content to take care of, but beyond the new content, which is kind of expected, what is the hassle? What's the biggest problem that, you know, maybe we could help solve? Localization is just not my area, so I'm kind of ignorant to the problem set that you're facing. The biggest problem is that each time you add new stuff to the game, the language file gets new lines, which is totally fine, but I cannot use the old language files and copy my existing translation. Most lines change their position. For example, alchemy, which was in line 1566 before, is now in line 1623 because we've added stuff in between. That behavior would change. All the new content would be getting just additional lines put at the end. I'd only have to translate the newest lines and copy paste. That makes a lot of sense, right? Because we have reserved some lines in between things where we might expect that new content or new features might get added to support that stuff. And so we use those lines later as we add features, and as a result, the document isn't linearly updated. It is updated throughout. What tool are you using to make the edits, out of curiosity? Like, are you using Word or Notepad or because there might be a better tool. Just using plain old text editor Notepad++. Okay. Yeah, I use Notepad++ as well. And like, I'm just wondering if using a diff feature, you might be able to integrate the new changes into your document, but I don't know if it's smart enough to do that. Like by referring to the numbers. Yeah, now I think about it, I don't, that's probably not a solution. I'm just thinking about the way that diffing text files works is usually there's a way to have changes go in midway, so I wonder if there's a workflow that we can help figure out that would give us the best of both worlds here. I don't think Notepad is intelligent. Yeah. I just thought that there was a diff feature in Notepad++, but I could just be mistaken. I'm not a programmer either, so I don't spend a ton of time like merging code. But, you know, Wall of Justice is, so he might have some legitimate perspective. Alright, the gnome is done. He's looking kind of cute. Who wants a cute gnome, guys? Look, a cute gnome. Alright, onto the fountain next. Thanks, dude. I wanted him to be great. Oh, look, his eyebrows aren't colored. How embarrassing for him. All the girls at cribbage night are going to make fun of him, how his eyebrows are uncolored. Give him freckles, makes me even cuter. That's not a bad idea. I may come back to him and add that. I do like it. I mean, why wouldn't they? They're cute as heck. And being cute as heck just comes with the territory that you have freckles, right? He's hecking cute. I'm cheating a little bit here. Make my work a little easier. Boom. Holy snaps. Let's go, baby. Cheating, no way. Hashtag no hunger. That's pretty funny. Yeah, we're playing a skeleton for that matter. You've seen me eat already. Yeah. I just had a snack bar instead of going and having some real lunch. Which is fine with me. I've noticed that like every day I skip lunch and eat a snack bar instead, I lose like a pound. I've been dieting pretty hard for maybe 10 months. And I hit kind of a plateau, and now I only lose weight again when I skip a meal and eat a snack bar. So, here we are. Is this the second time this song is played, or is it just really stinking long? I feel like I have to know. I'm looking at you, Pretzel. Yes, it's a 17-minute song. Holy moly. That looks good so far. Hashtag golden shower. Thank you for that. Yeah, something I want to talk to Ben about is that for a very long time now, I actually have a model for the water pool inside the fountains, so that so it looks full, in addition to having the trickling effect from the bird. But it has never been used, that model. And it's not like a fancy model. It's not like it took me a lot of work, but I think it'd be cool if you could see the water in there. Maybe just release it as a mod if you can't get an official release. Well, the problem is I would need the model to update. So it's not something I can do on my own. I need a programmer to hook it up so that when you click the fountain, either the model of the fountain changes or it removes a model that has been placed with the fountain. So right now it's just doing that for the special effect for the water, but that's not just a model, so I can't just like add to that model. But I'm sure that Wall of Justice could reuse the code that is getting rid of the water sprinkle to get rid of the water pool mesh. Yeah. I mean, it's funny because, like, so many of these concepts are so simple and straightforward to me, even though I'm not a programmer, that, like, if I just knew anything at all about our code base, I could probably go in and, like, find the appropriate code, copy it, and then like use it however I want to. But I got so much crap I'm trying to be good at as a game developer that like setting time aside to go and like figure out programming just seems a total like the opposite of what I should be doing. Like I like as much fun as I have doing this, and I think the quality of, you know, the 2D art that I'm doing is adequate. It's still not good enough to get a real job in the game industry doing this. That's why I don't do this as my professional job. Just because, like, I never had the patience or care to get so good at concept art that I could do it full time. Or not concept art, but illustration, you know? It's good enough for our little indie team. But at my day job, I'm a game designer, not an artist. You have to compromise. Yeah. Well, and it's like when you got a team that's big enough so that you can devote an entire team member to being somebody who doesn't actually put anything at all in the game. And by that I mean literally a 2D concept artist for a 3D game. Like, you're gonna want somebody who's very specialized in doing that one thing very well. Whereas on an indie team, we much more greatly value a team member who can contribute in multiple ways. Man, I love them 80s drum machine hits. I personally prefer working for and with a smaller team because I like being able to do more than one thing. It's one of the reasons I like working with Turning Wheel is because, you know, if there's a way I can help the game, I can do it. And nobody's telling me like, that's not your job, don't step on his toes. And it's like, yeah, I may not be the best concept artist in the industry, but I like doing it. And if it makes the game better, let me do it, you know? What's up, Fountain? Looking good. Yeah, baby. BT Dubs, is Turning Wheel just the 4 we have on the Discord server? So it's me, Sheridan. I want to respect some screen names here. Addict Gamer, Wall of Justice, and Chris Kukla are our primary contributing members. Addict Gamer has not been able to contribute in some time, mostly due to the fact that he has been in full-time schooling for a long time now. And he still contributes from time to time, meaningfully. You know, we love having him around. And we expect he will be more of a force of a useful part of the team. More useful, anyway. Later when he has less schooling obligations. And he was responsible for a lot of the stuff that Barony released with. For example, like the magic system, memorizing spells and how spell damage was calculated, and all that was originally his work, I believe. And he was the first programmer that Sheridan was able to hand off any work to and got great results. The great thing about him too is that he is sort of like an academically trained programmer, and so while a lot of mine and Sheridan's skills in game development are like, you know, we kind of do things our way. We grew up being modders, and we did a lot of work just by figuring things out on our own. Addict Gamer has the correct answers for a lot of things and can help us take shortcuts by knowing more of those sort of standards. So I was also professionally trained as a game artist, but I guess I'm just making the comparison that sometimes a formal education can help give certain members of the team a different perspective. Did you mod before? Well, so I started modding when I was like 11 years old. And the first game I modded was Wolfenstein 3D. And then I went on to mod Doom 2 and Bard's Tale and Then I made some maps, some custom maps with custom scripting for StarCraft. And then I made some mods for Morrowind. So that was the last modding I really did before I went to school and then joined the game industry as a professional. I've done a little modding since then. Like I released a Skyrim mod that I'm happy with. It's a design mod more than anything else. But yeah. What Skyrim mod did you release? The mod I released for Skyrim was called Protector Spells. It's part of the original Skyrim release, not the like special edition or any of that stuff. So you can't find it on like the Skyrim modding site because I never bothered to get back into Skyrim after all the billion re-releases that it's had. So yeah, if you go to the Steam workshop for Skyrim, you can find my mod called Protector Spells. And really, the whole point of it is that I wanted to play a stealthy healer character. It's one of my favorite archetypes in any kind of gaming. It's actually why I invented the Sexton class for Barony. Even though he's not a healer, he's sort of a cleric utility caster. And but while also being stealthy. So anyway, my character in Skyrim was a stealth caster, and but the way I wanted to play him is that I wanted to just heal and buff my allies all the time, and send them in and decide where to go and stay hidden through like the entire combat encounter. That to me, I thought was going to be really fun, and it worked out okay for the first couple levels, but then the game literally stops giving you any kind of buff for others. If you played older. If you played older Elder Scrolls games that had spellmakers in them, you might remember that they have on other was a spell effect. So you'd pick what the effect of the spell is going to be, and then you'd pick like how the spell is delivered. Like, is it a projectile spell? Is it a, is it an AoE spell? That kind of thing. And one of the options was always on other. And, that's how you target any attack spell, for example. But Skyrim has very, very few on other spells. It's like heal other and then rally are like the only buff spells the game has at all. And so I went on a mission to make on other versions of every spell that I thought would be useful for like support casters. And that was the whole point of my mod. Yep, that's it. That's the one. And yeah, I still remember, like, it's kind of silly, the kind of power you have with that mod, because I maintained a balance. Like, the mana costs are, like, very deliberately vanilla. I wanted it to be a completely balanced mod, like, as though I had just made those spells in the Spellmaker that a previous game would have. And, but it lets you influence the game in a lot of fun ways. Like, you know how early on in Skyrim you actually fight your first dragon, and you can take him down pretty easily. But you still don't want to fight giants. So it's like you can take care of giants, but you can't take care of or you can take care of dragons, but you can't take care of giants, which is hilarious. I remember I was still scared of giants, and there was this very narrow valley that I was trying to get through, but there was a giant in the path, and I was like, this ain't gonna work. And then I see a dragon around, and so I decided to lure it to the giant as it was chasing me, and the giant started fighting back as like errant flames were, you know, crossing through the valley. And so the giant started attacking the dragon. And so I started like healing and buffing the dragon so that I could kill this giant. Because I knew I could handle the dragon after the fact. Yes, giants do launch you into space. That's a good reason to be afraid of them, isn't it? It's pretty funny stuff. Nobody wants to get launched into space against their will. It takes, you know, there's a lot of prep time to consider. Yeah, so playing as that with my mod really gave me the experience I wanted, and I had very few kills by the end of the game, but like my armorer and you know, restoration and alteration skills were all like maxed up. He'd love to get launched into space against his will. I don't know if I believe you, sir. Good times. That dude does love space, though. And that's okay with me. So yeah. My mod didn't get really popular or anything, but a very, very simple mod that enabled a completely valid playstyle that nobody on that team had just bothered to support, you know? It's one of those things that's like, if anybody had cared at all to support this playstyle, like, it would have been so easy to get in the game, and nobody cared. So, it's one of those things that I was kind of proud of being able to support. I've got like 500 subscribers on that mod or something, if I'm not mistaken. It's not nothing. Let's breed some giants just for Elon's birthday. Wow, what a great idea. That's going to save him a lot of time and money. A lot of headache. I wonder if it'll probably skirt some regulations too, like... Okay. Alright, the song has lyrics, so it's already on thin ice. It's not bad so far, though. Hey, do you know when Elon's birthday is? I'm gonna come crash his birthday party. You just have to compete against the memed Stealth Archer, which is the legendary and most used archetype in Elder Scrolls games in CS3. I think that's totally true, dude. One of the reasons why I'm really glad that I beat Skyrim with my healer, Stealth Healer archetype is because I never played that way. It's funny how popular that is, and how little work Bethesda has done to try to like make it less OP. Mostly it's the AI, I think, that is to blame, because it's like it's just so dumb. It can't handle the idea of being shot from afar, especially if you're in stealth. But anyway, since I never played that way, I actually just started playing Skyrim again in VR, because I've been looking for a good VR dungeon crawler, and people are telling me, like, no, legit, Skyrim is the best one. The Jax on a quick break, but wanted to stop by and say hi. Tell D and the kids I said hey. Hey, man, I totally will. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it, dude. Thanks for stopping. Yeah, it's really good to see you. Hope you're doing great, you and yours. I gotta decide what color this guy's cloak is. I could do red since I got it out already. Or I could try to match his other attire. Or I could give him a green cloak. Look at all this art. Since Ben said no PAX buddy with her this year. Yeah. Yep, Dez is gonna miss PAX for sure. I got you, man. I think I will use a green cloak because it'll match his green staff. Since I play Indorol, I'm also playing a stealth archer. I don't know anything about Indorol. But yeah, so I fired up Skyrim in VR, and I'm surprised at how much I enjoy it. Considering it's a game I've already beaten, I expected to be a little bit bored with it. But now I'm playing the legendary stealth archer, the oft-memed stealth archer. And I chose that playstyle purposely, knowing that it was powerful, because VR sucks for melee combat. I worked in VR for a while, and I played numerous games with melee combat in VR, and just the lack of physical feedback totally destroys the fantasy of that you're actually there, and I hate it. And so I was like, what can I play in Skyrim that will actually make VR feel good, as opposed to just, you know, existing? And so I'm playing a stealth archer caster and having a very good time. Yeah, Jax, maybe at some point Des will schedule one of her trips up to Washington so that she can attend PAX with you guys again. You know, we've got some like family obligations that demand time for our visits, the limited amount of visits we can do, but there's no reason in theory we couldn't overlap with the PAX schedule. You know, I don't like how this green turned out on this guy. Melee VR, thanks, I hate it. Yeah, dude, it's bad. It's just bad. It always devolves into just this motion with your wrist. Because you know, there's no weight to the sword or anything. It's like the game just detects if you're moving it fast, and it's like, okay, that was an attack. And so you end up just like, it's like waving a feather duster around. It's awful. I don't like it even a little. I feel like I better stick with... I could give him the black cloak. What's that one? It's pretty good. I could alternatively give him the fur cloak. Yeah, it's just not selling. I'll stick with black. That's so far the one that when I saw it, I wasn't immediately like, bleh! That's like a vomit sound, in case you were curious. I'm gonna steal this gnome's skin tone for our wizard friend back there. Stealing the bone mask's color for his teeth. Gotta get rid of the background for a second. I can't see this gray. I'm digging this tune. This guy's mostly decked out in iron, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do an iron fill and then paint everything that's not iron. Save me a little work. Well, that didn't work. What did I miss? Oh, I see. Perfect. Okay, sure. Color code 86A061. Enter. You've got sort of like an olive green. It's not bad. It's maybe a little bright. Okay, what do you think? It helps him stand apart from his gray homeboy behind him a little better. There's a benefit. Smooth see it in the big picture with the color. With the floor later. Yeah, probably. What's up, Simply Meglish? Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for popping in. I appreciate you saying that. It's very kind of you. I'm doing some background characters right now. I'd like to zoom out for you so you can see the whole thing before you gotta go. Giving this guy his steel sword first. There we go. So we got our 4 monster races defending themselves in a hostile dungeon environment. Goblin Shaman, she's transforming into a troll to beat the snot out of this imp. We got the Incubus Punisher, the Insectoid Hunter, and then the Automaton Mechanist. So these humans are bad guys, according to these player characters anyway. The slime can't be hostile, it's just hungry. That's fair. But, like, I saw that slime at his family reunion, and he was kind of being a dick. So, just saying. When's the Snickers update? Thank you, Maglish. I appreciate you saying that. Oh, I just got your Snickers joke, Opulus. You're not you when you're hungry. Should I give this guy this thing? This is one of the facial hair options in the game, is this Fu Manchu look. Is that better? I mean, it's funny. Whatever, I'm sticking with it. If gave him the Snickers, he wouldn't have been such a dick, probably. Yeah, man. That's probably true. I'm not gonna justify his actions either. I got a message. Oh! My wife is saying hi, Meg. She sees that you're on stream talking to me now, so she's pretty excited about that. Hi, Meg. Where's my ink layer? There you are. I need to fill in some of this ink in here. Her husband was also in here, Desiree, if you want to say hi to him. He said that she misses you being a PAX buddy. Which is like, no doy. I could make this guy the ginger... Heart the Desilu. Absolutely. What happens when I make this guy the bearded ginger? By the way, do you know that you can actually stream in Discord for up to 10 viewers too on the games though? So if you ever only play Barony, I could do that. I tend to like to be able to save my videos and then distribute them on YouTube after the fact though. But I did not know that. Yeah, I kind of like him having the little ginger splash on his face. Why not? Send you guys some loots. Oh, that's too kind of you. But it's not something we'll say no to. Alright, I guess those guys are colored. So, I think the only thing on here that I need to spend a little more time on before I'm comfortable calling it for now. I still have a lot of rendering and like shading and lighting to do, but as far as getting the basic colors blocked out, I think maybe this is the #1 thing that I'm concerned about. This bad boy. I mean, I could make this look more like fire. You don't need to set this stuff up, so you can just go in a voice channel and hit go live. That's pretty cool. I do like that. This is an interesting song. What's going on here? Why do I have a second layer? I think my tool did me a favor and made me a new layer that I didn't want. Okay. That's fine. Everything is fine. Basically, if we move the voice channel below the support channels, people would see you being live, maybe watch you through Discord, and if they're interested, you could send them to my stream. Okay. I get what you're pitching. I like the option. The fact that it's just something I could do additionally with like no extra effort is like sort of a why not? A little bit of a no-brainer type action. So I think I get what you're saying. Okay, so right now it looks to me like he's holding an orange cabbage, which is not the look I'm going for. But I might be able to, maybe a color is all I need, a color adjustment.
When winter comes, when life is frozen, when the moons they hide away.
I can't do it with this song. Okay. I can make him casting some big ol' ice spell. I think I'm gonna have to get rid of the black outlines in the spell and put a lot more lighting in for it to feel like magic, because right now it just looks like he's holding a, you know, like a cheerleader's old pom-pom or something. Great fine art, yes. The cheerleader's pom-pom or the orange cabbage. Great examples of the finest type of art. A ripped open slime, yes. He's actually here to yell at the slime. He's saying, "Remember when you were a dick at your family reunion?" And we all remembered. Okay. Well, with that, guys, it is my anniversary today, and so given that I've done a nice full color pass on this, it's probably a great time for me to call the stream. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. It's been fun hanging out, and I will pick this up soon. I'm not sure if I'll stream the next session because it's going to be a lot of like shading work, but I don't know, maybe I will. It seems like people enjoy it. Okay, well, with that, thanks again. Cheers. Say cheerio to your governor for me. Bye.